I think you should hold
I
it.
couldn't start.
Yeah.
Well, so for the new guys, a little background on Hera. We are a German company. We started in the 50s and 60s in Germany doing wiring harnesses, whatever those are. We eventually went over to fluorescent lighting and then to display lighting. We've been in the U.S. since 1992, 93. So we only do Class 2 electronics, which means it cannot go through drywall. It's only for cabinet, furniture, and displays. So for what you guys are concerned, kitchen cabinets.
So their lighting you can't go through drywall, or you can't go behind drywall. Like if they want to go to the other side of the wall, can
Yeah.
they do that? But they can't go down through the wall to go from top of the cabinet to bottom of the cabinet.
Yeah.
Why is that?
The short answer is cost. To get approved to do that, you just have to go through more testing and it's more expensive.
Oh, okay.
Technically, our lights could do that perfectly fine. Everything we do is low voltage.
Just not rated.
You know, you can shock yourself all you want, it won't hurt because it's 24 volts, it's a battery pretty much. But it's just a lot of testing. Since our products aren't made to do that, we don't do it.
Okay.
But so that's the reason why. So like, everything's Class 2 for you guys. It's all cabinet lighting pretty much. So we have a warehouse in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where all of our products are housed. We have a factory in Germany, in a town I cannot pronounce, and 2 joint venture factories in China, also towns I cannot pronounce. What that really allows us to do is we have a good, better, best approach to everything. So our high-end stuff obviously comes from Germany. Some of the more price-conscious things, the value engineered stuff comes from China, more mass-produced. So that way we can pretty much hit any price point.
It's a great term, value engineered.
I feel like on the Will Ferrell movie when he's being recorded, he's like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Talladega Nights.
So put them down. Okay.
Yeah, about that.
So
I just want to say, it's a great time.
So I'm just going to be randomly doing that for the rest of the presentation. So we'll start with the linear. Everything we do, by the way, is plug and play, meaning that you'll have a driver that plugs into the wall, the lights will plug into the driver. What we call a power cord is the part that plugs into the driver and goes directly to the light. We then have different connecting cables that will go from light to light. They're called connecting cables. So we'll start with the stick VE, which is VE for value engineered. This is our low-cost linear option. It comes 8, 12-inch, 34 and 46-inch links.
Yeah, see how bright it is?
For value too.
But if you put it up at like 18 inches,
Right.
you'll notice a difference in it's a lot of light still, but you can definitely tell differences.
This is our stick 2, which is our probably middle ground light, a little bit nicer. The differences between these are the beam angle. This has a lot wider beam angle. This is going to be more of a curtain of light, so to speak. This has a CRI of 96. Are you familiar with CRI? It means color rendering index. A CRI of 100 would means it reflects color exactly as a noonday sun would in a cloudless sky. So if you've ever bought something in a store, taken it home, and it looks like a different color, that's because fluorescents have a really low CRI, which will turn blues purple and make colors reflect differently.
Does that have to do with your Kelvin temperature as well of the light?
CRI does not have to do with Kelvin temperature. Kelvin temperature only dictates the color. CRI dictates the quality of the light.
Okay.
So that's a good segue. Kelvin temperature dictates the color. So as I plug in the lights, you'll notice some will have a yellow tint to it. That's warm white. Those will be 27 to 3200 Kelvin. Our cool white goes from 39 to 4100 Kelvin.
Does anybody know or not know what Kelvin is or what it is on the spectrum of light and how it's rated? Like he's talking about the yellow lights with the different temperatures. Russ or Darren? Do you
I don't know. I don't even know what it means. I've heard of it. But nobody really asks what Kelvin is when we're talking about it.
No,
I mean, you can tell them if you want, I don't care, but I'm just saying.
People will be asking for like a white light or a yellow light or like the bluish colored tint, which is the daylight color to it. And light is going to be based off of a Kelvin temperature, which is off the light spectrum. So a warm white will have a specific degree in it, and not isn't hot and cold. It's just where it's measured off of the Kelvin scale.
And you can find a Kelvin scale online.
Right. So different manufacturers, their warm white will be slightly varying in a Kelvin temperature. So if someone's looking for a specific warm white and they're looking for a Kelvin temperature of, was it like 2600? If they're saying, well, I need a 2800, but let's say Hera is saying their Kelvin temperature for warm is ranging 26 to 27. That product may not be what they're looking for because the color may be different than the rest of the remaining lights in a commercial application or something like that.
Yeah, that's when it'll make a difference when they're trying to go to something else and match something else.
Sorry.
No, it's
Which
fine.
unfortunately, we can't overly worry about, because it's almost impossible with color of the LED bulbs or LED lights. The binning is gonna be different a year ago than it is today. So if someone calls and says, hey, these lights aren't the same color, but they're all cool lights, that's a definite possibility, because the bins are different, so but it will show up, and I've had a customer where he ordered lights at 2 different times and got 2 different colors, even though they were all cool lights. So it happens.
The technology behind LED lighting, I don't know how much you guys know, they will start with this huge, circle, and they'll put a drop of the chemical in there that makes it. Then after it dries and hardens, they run electricity through it, and they determine what color comes out. And then they go through and they separate them. You don't know, you can't go into it saying, I want to make a diode that's going to shine this color. You just make a whole bunch and then you bunch them together, which is why sometimes you'll see 2 cool white lights that will have a little bit of a variance in them. That's one of the drawbacks of LEDs. It's getting better and better, and it will continue to get better, but you will run across that, especially if you have someone who has, the stick 2 we've been selling for 5 years. So if you have someone that bought this 5 years ago and they buy another one today and they plug it up, it probably will not match, just because the different bin codes. Bin codes are, it's how they separate the diodes. Each bin code will have like on the back of this it says 40K-3, that's the name of the bin code. It's a certain range of the Kelvin temperature. We'll put all the diodes that are that bin code together and then put them in a light. So.
Now, can a customer call and say, hi, I have this bin number, can I get a light that matches that bin number?
Not at Cabinet Parts. You order warm white, you get warm white. Unfortunately, we don't have that option because we don't buy 50,000 of them from Hera, and then we're not stocking them and binning them like that. When right now our sourcing facilities are going to be through Quarter or HDL, and it's basically we're requesting warm white. We are actually requesting HDL to send warm white, which is
not a bin.
Yeah, not a particular bin. If you can gather information from the customer, if you know he's an electrician, if it's for a commercial application, if you're qualifying the correct information, you may have to give that disclaimer about the color may not match. We can't offer a particular bin for you.
And even
But in general, though, if a customer calls and says, am I able to do that?
Yeah, we've done it, but it's hard because, like you said, if it's more than a few months old, because you got to remember, CMC, HDL, they're only buying a few hundred, 1,000 at a time max. They sell them. The next order may not be the same bin, so it's practically impossible to get it.
And of course, our sourcing issue. If John ordered yesterday and it's sourced from HDL, that bin may be completely different than Quarters that was ordered 3 months ago. That's been sitting there because nobody ordered it.
Right.
So it's a luck of the draw, unfortunately.
So it's very rare that it happens.
Yeah, and if it ever comes to where we have to do it, we can. I mean, what happens is I call my inside salesperson. They let our warehouse know. They literally go through all the boxes and see what bins we have, which one's closest. It's a headache. We've done it before. We don't like doing it, but
Have to be a nice one.
I've done it one time.
It's not necessarily just a
No.
Hera issue. This is any
15.
manufacturer
Right.
selling
He was here.
LED.
Right.
That's
Bluish
just, that's
and
how it
pinkish,
is.
but they were both cool white. And he showed me that he had a wall unit, and he took a picture. When you could see the picture that there's a color difference, it's a big color difference. And I think CMC was a warehouse. I think we were able to get him all the same colors, but it took us like 2 weeks just to have somebody look around and make sure everything was the same thing. So it's almost impossible. It's not worth offering to do.
Replace
At the
all
end
of
of
the
the day.
lights and you're good to go. Make that sale.
LED diodes are so technical that even if they have the exact same Kelvin temperature, there's a thing called the R value, which is how it reflects red. So we can have the exact same Kelvin temperature and look the exact same, and then you put red under it, and all of a sudden they'll look different because they have different R9 values. It gets really, really technical. That's kind of off track a little bit.
All right.
Let's do your job now.
It very rarely comes up. Usually, we do our bins plus or minus 150 degrees, and the reason we do that is because the average person can't tell the difference in 300 degrees
Right.
Kelvin. So that's why we do that. So it's very rarely an issue, especially with homeowners, because they order everything they need once and they're done.
Right.
So it shouldn't be a big issue, but it may come up, just so you know.
Hey Dan, before you move on to the next type of light or anything, for some of the guys that have never literally touched the product, can you let them hold it, unplug it, plug it in, see how
Is that
difficult it
should
is
they
to
go
work
together?
with? Take a look at the
Russ,
ends of the
there.
connectors.
Watch how quick, see how easily that goes together? That is literally,
You can see
The difference.
the two different right
See
now.
how one, the left side's yellow?
This is warm white, this is cool.
Oh, okay, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Okay.
one's,
Okay.
yeah.
but that's how easily, that's the VE, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the VE.
So that's the stick VE, and you saw how quickly it just goes together, just
Can you
literally
connect,
snaps.
can you connect the VE with the,
No.
no?
I just tried that and
You can see here, when you put lights like this on a table, you can see the difference in the beam angle.
Yeah.
This one has a more narrow beam angle and this one's wider.
Mhm.
So those are the main differences. And this CRI that got us off topic, this has a CRI of 96, which your customers probably don't care about. Mostly that's for high-end retailers, jewelry stores. Higher CRI makes diamonds
That's
sparkle
the
more.
VE, right?
Yeah.
Most
Okay,
of the
so this
time
is the
for
stick
commercial.
two. And you can see how much, when that light goes, when he's talking about spread, you can see how little, that got dim real quick comparatively. With this one here is so close together, it seems like it's more solid.
Most of the people that are ordering commercial grade for showcases for
That's
jewelry
been on
stores,
for, what,
those
15
products have
minutes?
already been spec'd
Feel
by
that?
the architects, so they know what they're
Feel
looking
that?
for.
There's nothing in there.
So
That's
they may
the
not
cool
even
thing,
ask
that's
you for
to
those
tell them
items.
about that.
If they know what they're looking for, it's because it's what's been spec'd out. And for a few $100s an
All
item,
LEDs are that way.
it's already been
He came
spec'd
last
Right.
specifically.
Turned one upside down, or Marjan or somebody came and they turned it upside down for like almost an hour. And we touched it before we left, it was still cool. A little, a little warm, but it was touchable, you could put your hand on it. So that's the cool thing about LED versus halogen.
So that's the difference between the stick VE and the stick 2. This is our new stick 3, third generation. As you can see, this is where the technology in LEDs is going. And I broke this one so you can see. These diodes are very small, very close together with just a diffuser over them, which gives off an even glow like a traditional light source. As opposed to previous older stick lighting and everything, you can actually see the diode dots. When you have it over a cabinet or over granite countertops or something shiny, you can actually look down and see the
I
reflection.
can see it here with
Yeah.
each individual diode.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually had an issue with a customer that had the same issue with,
Yeah.
oh, I got the diodes.
If you have a granite or a countertop, anything like that, you can see the diodes on these two. That you're not going to be able to. Obviously, you're going to see the reflection of the light, but it's going to be more.
But that's the whole purpose of the diffuser.
Yeah.
And that's similar to the slim light fluorescent.
Yeah. And so it gives off more of a pleasing look to the eye. You don't see the diode dots. People, designers, everyone likes this a lot more. Just a higher quality light.
More expensive too.
Speaking of the good, better, best, VE's good, stick 2's better. This would be the best.
That, yeah, I think on our side it's like a $230 light. The big ones.
Do we get free samples?
do not, no.
For the whole kitchen?
I don't get a 60 range?
Just lights.
Man, I need one of those at my desk, you know.
So yeah, this is 420 lumens per foot. Lumen is how you measure the output of light. More lumens, more light. Does anyone have any questions about the linear lighting there?
Well, I guess with the connections,
Mm-hmm.
for each individual model, there's separate connections?
There is.
Or is it, this connection is universal for this one to that one to the next one?
The connections going into the driver are universal, but the connections going into the light are different.
Okay.
We try to make our part numbers easy. This light's stick 3. The power cord is stick 3.
The driver,
Okay.
the driver is
PC.
universal all the way across through all Hera products? But
No.
We have,
No.
two, we,
No,
have,
no.
we have two different ones. We'll get there in a minute. For the linear, yes. For most of our puck lighting, it is. It all uses our stick PS24 volt driver. But there are a couple that use different, and I'll explain that when we get there. But yeah, so it's our part numbers, it's the light, and then PC means power cord, CC means connecting cable, and then there's a number that gives you the length. So it's pretty we say it's pretty easy and it's hard to mess up. People mess it up all the time. I don't know how or why.
So the PC and the CC are the same thing?
No,
No.
power cord and connecting
No.
cable.
Power cord
Power
is
cord.
from the, he was just saying when you started, from the driver, not transformer, driver to the light. A connecting cable is light to light. Got it?
So we'll move on to the puck lights, which I assume you guys is what you sell the most of. I'm not going to pass these around to see how they plug in and out, anything like that. So this is our R55. The way we name our lights, we let our engineering department do it, so it's really straightforward. The R means recessed. The 55 is the millimeter, the whole size in millimeter that you have to drill.
Interesting.
Amount.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, this is a R55. It would be our smallest cheap puck light. It's very, very high quality, but the light output is not going to be as much as others. Less diodes in there, obviously, it's going to make it a little bit cheaper.
So that's the good.
The R55 would be the good. These two puck lights, this one is the R68, recessed 68 millimeters hole. This is the FR68, which means it's frosted, recessed 68 millimeter hole. These two lights are the same. The only difference is you can see the diode dots in this one. This one is diffused to give off a more
Yeah, I don't think we have the frosted.
traditional light source. It's new.
Yeah,
You
which
should.
is, yeah, we should get it. I mean, I like, actually like that one. That one's bright, but that one seems brighter.
For cabinet parts.
Yeah.
It's even.
Yeah, it's same process behind like the stick 3, small diodes close together with the diffuser.
It's more appealing.
It's
Seeing a bunch of dials in the light.
yeah, comparing these to any other light, this is much more appealing. It looks better. So this is relatively new. We're keeping these in the lineup just because some people with higher end modern homes, higher end kitchens, things like that, like seeing the diode dots because it looks more modern. These are great for more traditional looking kitchens because it gives the look of a halogen puck light you would see in a house 20 years ago, but it's LED.
And the R55 is what took over the KB12?
Yes.
Now, what was the nomenclature for KB12 though?
We did not name
Didn't
it.
do it then.
Hera-
Oh, okay.
Hera
I thought it
Jeremy
was
named
Bob, and he just turned 55, so happy birthday, Bob.
Robert 55.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the KB12 name.
Okay.
We're moving to this naming system to make it easier. 'Cause
Oh no, definitely.
And the hole is the same size on the R55 as it was on the KB12. Is it 2 1/8, I think?
It's tech.
Or 2 5/16?
It's technically an 1/8 of an inch difference. So if you
How
have
is it? Okay.
if you have a KB12, you can take it out, run sandpaper, and then put the R55 in, and it'll fit. Otherwise, it would be a little tight, but yes.
Same driver or different driver?
Yes, these are all on the stick
Okay.
PS24 driver. This is the AR78. This would be our high-end kitchen light. You can fill these, the rings and stuff on plastic. They have a small diffuser on the back. This one is made out of all aluminum. It's a higher end light. The diodes are centered very close together to give off a very strong spot.
That's a nice thing.
I was saying, you saw how much, you can see the difference in the light when
You
you
can
get
see how much light is reflecting off you and bouncing on the wall behind you.
It's a lot brighter, and you can
Nice.
feel it compared to these lights. It feels more expensive. I don't know how to explain it any other way than if you pick both up, you'd go, I would pay more for this one.
Yeah.
Because it
exactly.
feels like you should. Obviously, it is more
It is more
expensive.
expensive.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah, that would be our most expensive high-end kitchen light.
It's like,
See the heat diffuser on the back there, Russ?
And price-wise, what is it? Twice as much, or?
I don't remember yet.
You gotta check our prices.
It's
for-
expensive.
for what we
Yeah.
marked
That
up
are
to.
78.
I bet the cost
I know
to
they're
make these
expensive,
lights
I don't
is
remember how
about
much
nothing,
they are, but.
to make them, actually make them.
Well, the expensive ones, if we sell it for $200, it's probably got a cost, like physical material cost to make,
$8.
probably 10, 15 bucks.
Mhm.
But by the time, no joke,
Oh,
but
yeah.
by the time you put your branding and your tech budget
Packaging, oh, no,
and your
also.
sales into it, it probably brings the item up to $50, $60. Then it
Oh.
gets sold, and then now that's just how business is.
Mhm.
Yeah, all of our products are UL listed, which means it is, per electrical code, it is okay to use them in a house. So a lot of times it doesn't really matter if it's UL listed, because when you're doing a kitchen remodel, you don't have an inspector coming in approving things. If it's a new build, then an inspector will come in, and everything has to be UL listed. Just so you guys know, to have a light UL listed is about $10,000 to $15,000 per year per light. So every year we have to re-up and sign, yeah.
Wow, for every.
And that's one of the reasons why some of the products,
For
you
every
get what
light.
you pay for. If you want good quality product, there's a reason why sometimes it costs a couple dollars
Yeah.
more.
But I don't think any of ours, I think everything we have is UL listed.
Yeah.
From every company.
Yeah.
It probably,
But that's why
probably
we
is.
have quality product. We don't go with the cheap, who here gets the emails in web sales? I have lights
China.
and
China.
from China, and half the message is not in English. I have light, want to buy, and then, that's it.
That's the ones that you're, yeah.
Happy Sunshine Day, manager. Please buy our light.
No, that's what it
Please
is.
buy light now.
So, yeah, if you can get a job at UL, take it. They make a lot of money, I know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So this is a new light, which you guys
That's
do not
bright.
have. We don't technically have it for another couple of weeks. We're getting our first stocking order. It is the brightest puck we've done. This is called the SR45. S means swivel.
Nice.
It has a 10-degree tilt side to side. Obviously, RE says 45-degree hole. It's, even with these fluorescents overhead, it has no problem overpowering them. It is chip-on-board technology, which means instead of a whole bunch of small diodes, it is one large diode within a reflector around it.
Does it come with Ray-Bans? Because that is really bright.
All of these products I've showed you are dimmable. We do have a system to dim everything. It can also be dimmed through a Lutron dimmer.
The Lutron, but the Lutron's, doing it with Lutron is involved. It's not just plug and play with Lutron. It's involved, it's electrician involved.
Exactly.
It's extensive pre-wiring before the lights are installed,
Yeah,
et
so,
cetera.
yes, they can be Lutron, and I think Scott, you know that too. These can be Lutron. A lot of these lights can be Lutron from
You know what that
Hera.
means, Russ?
But
I'm writing it down.
that Lutron is a wall dimmer. Like when you walk up to your wall and you go up and that.
And there's a knob.
Most of these LED lights, we don't tell people that they can be wall dimmed. We tell them it can't be. You have to use their dimming products because it is way involved and expensive. And it's a Lutron Diva system, I think is what it is. It's the system they
Yeah.
told us. So it's a specific system, specific wiring. If someone asks for it,
Does it lose anything when it's long,
No.
longer the separation?
So because this is low voltage, it can only go 16 feet from the power source to the end light before it'll experience voltage drop. You can go longer than that, and it may still work, but we don't recommend it.
16 feet.
Yes.
So at that point, you need to put another driver or somewhere, basically somewhere else.
Yeah. We've had people do 20, 25 feet and still works, and if it does, great, but our official recommendation is anything over 16 feet, you'll experience voltage drop, and if the LEDs aren't getting 24 volts, they will shut off.
For those who are not familiar with the end of your cable, what you're touching right now with the port connectors,
Current.
with the little jumpers right
Yeah.
there, can you please explain to us what the
Why they're there and
why they're there,
when you have
and
to
why
use
they
them.
have to
So-
be there?
We have two different driver systems. This is the constant voltage. This is constant current. And if you can channel your 8th grade science class, constant current means the current cannot be broken. The reason we have them two different drivers is efficiency, the easy answer. With a constant current driver, you can get brighter lights, but you can't get as many on there. So a lot of the lights that go on here, like the R55 is 3 watts. This is a 30-watt driver, you can put 10 of them on.
I was just saying, look how many you can put on there in that terminal block compared to that little 3 terminal block
Yeah, you've
there.
got 6 on each side. You can technically put 12 lights on that one driver.
It depends on the wattage of the light.
Yes, of course.
So this is a 30-watt light, you can't put more than 30 watts on here. So, 3-watt
Yeah.
lights, you can do 10,
True.
5-watt lights, you can do 6, like that. But the reason they're different is the constant current can get lights brighter and be more efficient. But you just can't put as many on there. So with that being said, when the lights are plugged in, if you take one of these jumpers out,
Yeah, so they can't lose them.
You're cutting the current.
stopping the current.
Can they call you, customers call you and get replacements for those if
We
they lose them?
have a fishbowl of these. You
Okay.
can just reach your hand up and
Alright.
take them, because people do lose them.
Next thing I've noticed real quick, the lights on these, the wiring on these is different than the wiring on those.
It's a negative positive.
Is that a driver related issue?
It,
Can we use that to say, okay, this one's got to go with the constant current versus the other ones?
both of the wires are positive, negative. We just do it so you know which light it goes with.
Okay, I just wanted to
Everything that's going to go with the stick PS is going to have the
Yeah.
white or the
Exactly,
vanilla
okay.
color. These are all black and white.
And those are gonna, that's the, what driver is that?
This is the PS LED 10.
PS LED, okay.
Right now, we only have 3 lights that run off this. These 2 and the big 6.
I don't think you guys stopped at 6, didn't you?
We still have the big 6 too. So these are the only 3 lights that run off this. When you look in our catalog, when you look in our catalog, it will tell you. Like if you look at our catalog, our spec sheets will have all the specs about the lights. The bottom of it will say it uses this driver. You can put 2 of these on this driver. You can put 4 of them on this one. So we try to make it as easy as possible. Last one, this is the SR68. It uses the constant current. It has diodes with a honeycomb optic on it, which again makes it look like a single source light. So it's going to give off no diode dots. This has a 45-degree tilt side to side. It is more of a retail light.
Displays.
Showcases,
Yeah.
jewelry cases.
So
Things
that
like
one is a bunch of diodes with what's called a honeycomb
Yes.
that make it seem like one, and then that one is really just one big one.
Yeah, you can see the
Oh,
difference.
okay, yeah.
You want to pass that around, Scott, so
Okay.
you can,
Yeah.
everyone can see?
Okay.
I'm out of the loop, man.
Don't worry,
Just throw it at me whenever you're done with it.
Okay.
save the best for last.
Is that the way I did it?
Yeah, it's okay.
That way everybody won't see it right after.
I'll get it last.
Why, it makes it, man.
It's crazy.
First to last.
Have you guys sold a lot of this LED?
No, that's a slim light LED?
Yeah. You probably
No,
have.
because again, it's expensive.
This is cheap.
Is it?
It's
Yeah.
incredibly cheap.
Well, then maybe is that like the value engineered edition?
Well, the reason you probably haven't sold a lot of this is when you're, I'm assuming most of your customers are people redoing their kitchens, things like that. They want things really low profile
Yeah.
things like this. This is to replace T5 fluorescents, which some people probably have under their cabinets, but people are going to go towards this just because it's much more low profile. If someone's using a T5 fluorescent, something like this is 50,000 hour LED, so it's going to last 10 years, 15 years, depending how often you have your kitchen lights on. It uses a 4-foot one of these, uses half the electricity of a 4-foot fluorescent, so in terms that's about $27 per year in electricity savings per 4-foot light. So switching from fluorescent to these would be a huge energy savings. For cabinets, I don't know, because you're not going to put this under a cabinet, it sticks out too far. But if anyone's using fluorescents for any reason,
If they're replacing though, real quick, because older kitchens, 80s, early 90s, had light bars.
Yeah.
So if they have a light bar, you can still use that because they're using the whatever the hell it is, the fluorescent version already. So that's going to be still be able to be used there. My question is that I saw that cord is different.
it is.
Is that cord the same as the fluorescent equal?
This
Can
cord,
they use the old cords with that system or no?
they cannot. So
Damn it.
How's that light pass?
Sunlight, yeah.
our fluorescent connectors are proprietary
Oh,
to
it's
us.
on the outside.
So no one has connectors
No,
like
no,
this.
to whatever you want.
Yeah, those are the pins, yeah.
This connector is like an industry standard. It's the same that Jesco Louisville lamp, any of those people use. So if you have a Jesco fluorescent, you can still use their power cord, replace it with our light.
How is that light mounted onto something?
Metal clips. So obviously the puck lights, you screw a hole, they're all friction
Yeah,
fit
no,
in.
not these.
No, yeah, no.
All
Let me
of,
see. I'll show them this.
all of
Continue.
the linear lights,
See this?
Oh, okay.
There's a clip that
Snap.
goes on the cabinet and then you snap it in.
Can you, if a customer wanted to double side tape it, because I know it's LED, so it doesn't get too hot, but would it get too hot to where the adhesive is gonna unadhere?
because we have to be 100% certain about everything. If someone says they want to do it with adhesive, we recommend to do it with an automotive adhesive, which
Okay.
is just extremely powerful, and it's way more powerful than need be. A 3M adhesive, anything like that, will work with these. But
It's like an emblem adhesive.
Take into account that
Almost, why would
if
you?
Hera says
yeah,
mount it with the bracket, and the customer says, all right, well, I don't want to put a hole in the cabinet, I'm going to use the tape. Okay, no problem. I can't stop you from doing what you
We don't
want to do.
recommend it, yeah.
Here's
Don't
some
ever
advice,
recommend it.
but in the end, if they use tape and it drops and falls,
Right.
they are still responsible because they're the ones that mounted it in a way that was not recommended
Yeah,
by
we-
the
yeah,
manufacturer.
That's why I wanted to see if it was a
Okay.
Yeah,
recommended
no,
way
no,
or
we
not.
never recommend
But it's
it
not.
doing
Yeah.
that.
But don't scare them off saying, oh no, you cannot.
Oh, no, yeah.
We recommend, because this is what the manufacturer says, at least you've given them the disclaimer and the option to do
yeah, I
what
mean,
they want.
you'll see how light that is.
Right,
You know, those like 3M adhesives you hang pictures on hold up to like 30 pounds per
yeah.
thing, so obviously it'll be fine. But that is, that's all of our products. Anyone have any questions about specific lighting issues, LED technology, anything like that?
This goes back with the dimmable situation with the Lutron switch. Now, does that have to be a plug into the wall, or is that could be hardwired?
So, all of our lights are UL listed to be plugged into a wall.
Mhm.
If you
Now,
cut,
it
cut
violates the
any
warranty.
wires, one, it voids our warranty, two, it voids UL.
Yeah, you can't hardwire,
Well, I understand that if you have a dimmer switch and you have a plug for it on the wall,
Yeah.
you just plug this in and it works with the
yeah,
dimmer.
that's what you're supposed to do, but when you get into Lutron, it's like I told you, the wiring is to be done before you install. It's an electrician involved, it's not,
Yeah,
the
but that's
normal
all ran
consumer can't
to
do
an
it.
actual socket in the wall.
As someone that's actually hooked up the Lutron to this stuff, a normal application, you have a switch which is your interrupt that turns your lights on and off. It's really what it's doing is it's giving your outlet power or no power. If you want to run a Lutron dimmer, you still need to have a constant electric going to the driver. Your driver needs to convert your 110 into your DC current. After your driver actually converts it, then at that point, that low voltage is what's gonna be run to your Lutron dimmer. Your Lutron dimmer will actually, will limit the amount of electricity or DC current going back to your terminal block, which is, if you could please show the terminal block, please.
Which is more involved than
Okay.
you ever want to get.
And then
out
at
of
that
this.
point, then your lights are now plugged
Yeah,
into that.
so no.
Which is why there is extensive
it.
pre-wiring. But most of our customers are not gonna be the types that can do this. They think they can, but
So
once
what I'm
they
saying
realize their electrician has
There's a-
run Romex through the walls for low voltage, they've just found out that they just wasted $500 to have an electrician come over and run Romex where low voltage does not work. So they've just completely messed everything up.
Well,
It
what
has
I'm
to be
implying is that
planned
you
for
would
it
need,
first.
you would need the switch on the wall, the dimmer switch, but then you also need the dimmer driver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and it's like I said, it's a specific system.
Okay.
We have just in my email, I have a thing from Hera that explains, with I think it's with the KB12, I think is what I got from
It's,
out there. But it
it'll
explains how to
show
do it.
you, like, you plug this into this,
Uh-huh.
plug the lights into
Uh-huh.
here, and then it shows you how to wire it to a
The-
wall switch. Like I said, you need an electrician to do
Yeah.
that.
The
And
best
once
thing
you
to
cut
do,
those wires, then
No
at that
warranty.
point, there's no warranty. You break, you buy.
and the best thing to do if someone asks about dimming from a wall, with Hera only, don't get into anybody else, with Hera only, have them call the Hera number,
Yeah.
because they can email or fax them the setup for it, a
Yeah.
lot
And
easier.
please
And they can
contact
explain
the
it.
licensed electrician
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do this.
Always say, we're not
We don't get
electricians
it
here,
very
we don't.
often,
Yep.
it's
We
very
don't.
rare
And,
that,
and if a guy says he
Yeah.
is an electrician and he's asking how to do it,
He's
he's
not.
not a good
He's not.
electrician. Ask him to contact
Yeah, but-
a licensed electrician.
Yeah,
now you
any-
can switch from a wall too.
if anyone has any specific questions that you guys can't answer, feel free to tell them to call Hera.
Or call Woody, that retired 2 years ago, that I just found out the other day.
Still there.
Woody?
Yeah, he's
still there.
semi-retired.
Yeah,
They just told me that Woody retired.
he
He
did.
did.
And he
So
took-
what, so what,
He took
can they
about-
not, like,
He doesn't work
find him?
weekends now.
Took an extended leave of
Is
absence.
he roaming around the warehouse
Well,
somewhere?
He retired and he was gone for about 3 months.
He was bored.
And yeah, and then, and the way he puts it, he's like, I can work all day at home for my wife for free, or I can get paid here. So instead of working 8:30 to 5, he now works about 9 to 4, and he usually takes Fridays off.
But
Yeah.
you can switch LEDs from the wall, you know, switch like that up and down. It's got to switch the outlet. Has nothing to do with the lighting itself. You switch the outlet from the wall, you can turn it on and off, but you can't dim. Not without getting all wild.
So yeah, if they have any specific questions about Hera, tell them to call our 1-800 number, either engineering or one of the inside salesperson.
1-800 ask for
Answer questions.
Daniel Shape.
Hey, Dan,
Sure, I'm never there, so.
I'll get my voice notes. I'm gonna
you got about 15 minutes until everybody literally jumps and scats out of here with no regards to your program.
Sure.
So if there's anything else that we want to go for, let's ask as many questions.
Or
Who
do you
wants to go back
guys,
on
yeah,
the
or do
phones?
you guys have any questions?
I can sit here, I can.
No, do you guys,
If you don't have questions, we have to go back on the phones.
All right,
do you
let me
guys
think,
have,
let me think,
do
hold
you
on.
guys have any questions?
Not yet, I don't know enough about it to, I got all my notes here. so-
Well, yeah, I do have a question. Okay, so this gets plugged into the wall, and then from here, each light
Gets a
actually
spot.
gets the power from each port,
Correct.
right? How long are the connector wires? Okay, can you get them in different sizes?
78 inches.
It varies. Normally, the shortest we have is 78 inches. Like our stick power cords are 98 inches. I'm not sure why we do it differently.
Yeah.
But all of our spec sheets have the exact length on there. We do have power cord extenders.
Mhm.
It's called KB12 LED CC 39 and 98, which will plug in and extend that. So in that case, you can go up to 16 feet.
So you can go up to 16 feet.
So power cords are, 79 or 98? Connecting cables though are 39
Or 98.
or 90, oh, okay, I thought
Yeah,
you guys
but-
didn't you guys just do a 48?
72.
A 72? Yeah.
We may do a 48.
Yeah, I thought it was 74. I thought there were, no, actually, I thought it was 72. I thought it was 39 and 72 to
No.
98.
Connectors,
That's what I
connector
thought.
cables
What we do
are
is-
from light to light, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Connects-
connector
connects
cables
one-
go from light to light.
Power cord goes from wall, from.
And can you extend a power cord with a connecting cable to make
Yes.
it a longer?
Yes, you can go up to 16 feet.
No, but a power cord with a connecting cable or a power
Oh,
cord
no.
with a power
No,
cord
I
extension?
mean,
You have to do.
you
have to
plug
do
in the connecting cable to the port. At the other end,
Power cords only can be extended
No.
with power cord
Yeah, the-
extensions.
like this one right here.
The power cord extender would go on this end, and the other end would plug into the driver.
Yes, okay.
People ask if our lights can be daisy chained. Our puck lights cannot. Each light has to go back to the driver.
Have a constant current.
Now you said 16 feet from the driver to the puck light,
Yes.
or is it 16 feet including the driver?
No, it's 16 feet from here to the light.
16 feet of wiring.
It probably would work slightly more, but what they found during their research is they probably have an average distance that they can find a correct voltage where they don't have problems, and that's probably why they say 16. You could, and he said, oh, his customer said 20 feet, or you might can get 18 feet.
Yeah, so
But
you-
playing it safe, Hera recommends that 16, you don't go further than 16, or you may,
The light
one.
you may come across some interference with the lighting.
So if you don't have a constant 24, the LED will shut down.
Correct.
By the way,
It
if you-
doesn't dim or anything, just
If
stop
they
working.
cut the cord and they go to wire and they wire the cord backwards,
Where's the LED, right?
it will, yeah, it could damage the LED. It actually will turn it red.
Yeah.
And then
Believe
what
it
that
or
also
not,
does is by
It
cutting
can do a
it,
lot of different things.
Yeah, and that's what I was told. It would be the red.
the biggest thing does is that it voids your warranty by
Yeah.
modifying the actual operational
That's-
procedure of
But
the
that's just so
product.
you know, if someone ever
And your
calls.
UL listing.
I had someone call and tell me their lights are red. And I said, there's no way it can be red until I think I talked to Woody. And he said, have him, did they rewire it? And that's what happens. He rewired it, but when he put it back together, he put the positive on the negative, negative on the positive.
So it damaged the light?
It
Yeah.
turned, well,
Yeah.
not with him. He had it red, and Woody said, it's gonna stay red. Even if they rewire it and it works again, it'll be red, if it works. Luckily, he didn't. He put his wires back together and his light went back to normal. He lucked out,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it
yeah.
could change the color and it could stay that way, yeah.
Yeah, it could do a lot of things. It could either just damage the LEDs and kill them, it could change the colors, or it could work fine.
Well,
You
these
know, it would
lights-
work fine for 6 months, but it would work fine for maybe 6 months and then go out maybe
Right.
2 years.
Mhm.
At some
They're
point, will these
blinking.
lights be able to be in color?
Well, we have the
Or you
technology.
did just exchange the outer cover of them?
Yeah, we have the technology to do like color changing LEDs. No one wants to buy them. So.
Yeah,
You guys are in the
someone
full
Might
had
not
light
be a
business.
market.
Yeah.
someone had one.
you
I
can-
believe someone had one, and we don't have it anymore. We
Those
used to have
color
one.
changing lights you're gonna find mainly on the cheap ones that come from overseas because those deal with Christmas lights.
Yeah, the
Or
rope
storefront.
lights. You can buy the rope lights with a little remote control, turn them yellow.
Yeah, for some reason I think it
Green.
might have
It's
been the
just-
flex.
it's
But
just-
you're not gonna get 50,000 hour quality product
I think they're
out of a
flex used to have
$19
different-
light that you buy at Walmart.
It's a
It's
lot.
not gonna
a lot of
happen.
Actually, I don't know if it was
companies
color changing, it was different colors. Blue, green,
Well, I think LEDs just, you can change the color by
Yeah.
the current.
that's what I think it was.
have it. A lot of people have things like that. But for us, 90% of our business is retail, and
Never to use it.
Yeah.
until someone who
So the
has
rave industry picks
yeah,
up.
until someone has 500 stores wants it.
So Home Depot wants to go with
Yeah.
blue
Yeah,
lights.
if you want blue
Or
lights,
SOL.
check your spam box.
We worked with T-Mobile for a few years, and like their magenta color, we got LEDs in that color for them.
Oh, okay.
That light off, that off purple.
Yeah, so we could do it. It takes a lot. You have to order 10.
Yeah, you
Show me
gotta
some
order
money.
more.
Tell them to put color cellophane over the light.
Exactly. You can do that.
Well, that's how they used to do it with the floodlights for outdoor.
Monocoat, model airplane
Yeah.
monocoat, where you coat.
Okay, so you
outside
got any
of
more
airplanes.
questions for Mr. Daniel before we
No,
scat?
thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Does that help out? Does
Yeah,
that
thank
help?
you.
Well,
Yeah.
It starts, not to start for me anyways.
Yeah, if y'all have any questions.
Well, now the tech sheet will
Well, now,
actually
yeah,
be
now the
readable.
text sheets are, you'll
It
Have a
be
safe
a
flight.
more.
makes sense now.
And now you notice, like I said, how
Oh,
Polly
you
has
go
it
to South
online.
Florida?
If you look at the light, if you click into the light and you scroll down, it'll tell you what you need, that you need a driver, or you need a connecting cable, or a daisy chain
Thanks, Daniel.
connector. Not daisy
It was
chain, what is
good.
it?
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.